and girls, nobody's watching. And now he's live. Hey there. Do come in the chat so I know who you are. Oh, that's great. Thanks, Greg. I really appreciate that the sound is 5 on 5 and there's no lag. Oh, okay, that's great. You know what? I was trying out this new setup with a new mic and a new camera, and should have invested more. Oh well. How are you, Greg? Hi, David. The wind beneath my wings. You are. I have to tell you, I know, I mean, there's not enough people, not many people here on the stream right now, but I have to say that if there's anyone who has really encouraged me to keep making videos, it's David Owen, amongst a few other people. So I just wanna say thank you. Really, I do. Really. Thank you, David. I appreciate every single comment that you leave on my videos, and I hope that I respond to them adequately. It means a lot when you guys leave a comment. It means a lot, seriously. So thank you. Thank you for that. Um, in case you're wondering, I'm drinking the Balvenie Sherry Oak 17-year-old, old school Balvenie. Back when they used to make whiskeys that were worth every single penny that you spent on them. Oh, even though this is at 43%, they knew what they were doing. Just um, perfectly mature in those sherry casks. Absolutely love it. Is that a 17-year-old rum cask or a 14-year-old rum cask, Greg? Um, I don't know if they have a 17-year-old rum cask. No, maybe they do. I don't know. But this is the old school 17-year-old, which I think they've discontinued. It's been a while now. Oh, well, you know more than I do. The old 17-year-old was replaced by the 14. So, wow, that's really old school, huh? So that's like discontinued 14 years ago. Damn. Is it true? I'm finding a lot of the new Balvenis um, very thin on the palate. Great on the nose as always, because Sir David Stewart does some great noses. But I find new Balvenis to be quite thin on the palate, and I know they're not chill filtering them, so it's weird. Hi, Danny. What do you think about the OSWA nominations in the category Best Scotch Whiskey 2022? You know what? Let me pull it up. Let me pull it up so I can refresh my memory. Mm, yes, nominations. Okay, so we have, let's go all the way down. Best Scotch whiskey of 2022. It's an interesting mix. I'll be honest with you. Very interesting mix. I've had, for example, I have with me. Where is it? The Glen Scotia. Oh, here it is. The Glen Scotia Victoriana. That's in the finals. It's an interesting dram. I don't know if I would have made it my whiskey like whiskey of the year, to be honest. I did a head-to-head with like four other Glen Scotias and three other Glen Scotias, and this one was like not even in the top two for me. But maybe I have a batch variance or 54.2. Yeah, maybe it's a batch variance, or people have different tastes. It's interesting. I'm really excited about the Ardnamurchan. Yeah, the Ardnamurchan Cask Strength. I think that's my dark horse. I hope enough people have drunk it for it to do something. But yeah, very interesting. I think the Ardnamurchan is my dark horse. What else do we have? We have the Bunnahabhain 12. We have the Late Chegg 18. We have the Anok 18 as well. So I had the Late Chegg 18 the other day with a friend of mine, and maybe just a wee bit of sulfur in there. I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, something definitely slightly off for me for that. So, among the lot, I think my money's on the Ardnamurchan. At least my money is. So that's interesting. Hi Glenn, what do you think of recent Springbanks? Man, I'll be honest, I haven't been able to get my hands on any. That's the problem we're facing today. Massive cut in production, or lack of supply. I don't know. I've not been able to get my hands on any other than Glen Scotia. So definitely no Springbanks, and nothing from the Springbank distillery. Interesting. So that's sad. So I don't know how to comment on that because I haven't been able to get my hands on. Greg, love the latest batch of the 21 Portwood, the stunning 30-year-old, and the latest ton special for Taiwan. Wow. So I have both the tons, the 1509 and the 1401. I think I have the batch 4 or 8 for the 1401, and I think the first batch of the 1509. I think the 1401 is definitely a lot better than the 1509 in my opinion. I have had the 30-year-old. I think that's absolutely stunning. Absolutely stunning. And the 21 Portwood was my go-to whiskey for the longest time. It was one of the first Balvenies I had bought as well. I think I got lucky. So definitely loving those. There are batch variations too in the ton story. I agree for earlier ton more. Yeah, definitely, Greg. Lots of batch variances, I think. The one that I have up there is, I think it's the batch 4 or 8. I'm not 100% sure. I don't know if you can see it. Can you see it up there? Next to the Freya. That's. Can I zoom in? I can't zoom in. So next to the Freya, you'll see the 1401. So I don't know about that. First fill. I've given up on Springbanks. Retail prices now rip off. Yeah, I'd have to agree, man. It's the prices are just completely just ridiculous. You shouldn't have to pay 135 pounds for a 10-year-old whiskey. For what? I don't care where it comes from. So I still got a couple of Springbank 10s, and drink 'em, David. Drink 'em. David has a couple of Springbank 10s and 15s. I think I have some 10s and 15s up here as well. What do I have? Anything you guys like? god, that's the top shelf. That's my Brora, which I really like. It's probably my best dram on the shelf. That's the ton that I was talking about. Hey Mac. Yeah, there was a huge influx of Springbank in our local scene recently, but it was gone within the weekend pretty much. Yeah, I know. I think Mac was witness to somebody walking into the store and buying like 20 bottles of Springbank and leaving with it. Um, they all look like old dusty bottles. They are old dusty bottles, you know. I stopped cleaning them because I was like, if I clean them, then they won't look vintage anymore. So that was my way of making them look vintage. That's why I don't clean them. And frankly, I just got tired of cleaning them, to be honest. I didn't trust anybody else to clean them, and I was like, oh, I'm too lazy. And then somebody said, hey man, this dusty look looks nice. So that's what I did. I just went with the dusty look. Mac, the most recent Springbank 12s, batch 19 and 20 were really good. Well, Mac, you know more about Springbank than I do. I've not been able to do like a comparison between 19 and 20. I don't even know there was that much of a batch variance, to be honest. But hey, if you have some at your home, let me know so I can come over and try that. This dude walked in a Lakers jersey, bought 2 cases of Springbank 19. Damn, that's a lot of bottles to just get and leave. That's messed up. That's messed up. Sounds better now? Oh, okay. Thanks, Greg. I appreciate it. Yeah, I was wondering what Springbank 19 you were talking about. Well, I brought out something nice for the evening. I thought I'll do the Glengoyne teapot dram. I remembered buying the first batch. I think it was like 10 years ago. And I'm a sucker for romance, so I will always love I'll always love a good story, and if the whiskey is also good, then hey, nothing like it. You know what I'm saying? So this was a great story. I love the story about the teapot dram, and you know, it's a high strength sherry monster, so really can't go wrong with that, if you know what I mean. David, I saw a couple of Springbanks in the shop earlier this year, but because I got some left on the shelf for someone else. Should have picked them up anyway, David. Now they're in the hands of a flipper who's holding them hostage. Why would you do that? You're a good man, David. I would not have been able to make that sacrifice. You're definitely a much better man than I am. So yeah, with this teapot dram, it's at 59% ABV. Just interesting. Hey, Welsh Toro, my man. The reason I started or restarted making videos is because of this man. Because he commented on some of my videos that I had made like, I don't know, 7-8 years ago, and I remember thinking, well, if there's one person who's going to watch my videos, then that's good enough for me, and I'm going to start making them. And that person was Welsh Toro. So I owe him a great of gratitude, a debt of gratitude. Yes, I do. So thank you, and from the bottom of my heart, Slanjiva. So yeah, this Glengoyne teapot dram, 59% ABV on this, and All Oloroso casks. Interesting whiskey. This needs a drop of water. Hold on, let me see if I can use this. There you go. Definitely does well with a drop of water. 59% is a bit much. I wouldn't drink it. We have two guys. We have two guys from my whiskey club, Loy and Mac. They're the rising stars of our whiskey club, with the most unbelievable tasting notes, rivaling erotica. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy how sensual their tasting notes are. You have to read them. Finally done. Hello, finally done. First fill, your video on Isla this year was brilliant. Thank you so much, First Fill 1959. I like your handle, First Fill 1959. I hope they bottle you soon though, otherwise you're gonna just get oaky and tired. Yeah, the teapot drams have a good reputation. I think this one I got for less than £100, which I think is a bit much again for a non-age statement whiskey. But the thing is, I bought my first teapot dram at around £55, and that was 7-8 years ago. And then I didn't buy it because it was really expensive, and I just wanted to see how they've changed. And they really upped the ABV on this. It's like about 59% now. But back in the day, I think it was less. It was around the 54-55% mark. But like I said, you know, if you feed me a romantic story, then you've already won half the battle. Lots of notes of chocolate. Oh, cool. Mac, what's the story behind the teapot drams? Okay, it's actually one of my favorite stories. Back in the day, when I say back in the day, I'm talking like up until like the 60s and maybe even the 70s. What the distillery used to do is they used to give their workers like 2 cask strength drams during the course of the day, one in the morning and one before they went home, and it was the seasoned guys who would pick the size of the dram, right? So instead of getting like 2 fingers, they'd get like 2 fingers. You know what I'm saying? And each one would get like this cask strength glass of whiskey. Now, not everybody could drink that first thing in the morning, so what, instead of throwing it away, what they would do is they'd big brass or copper kettle in the lunchroom or the cafeteria, and the ones who couldn't drink it would just go pour their drams into that teapot, and the hardened or the seasoned veterans of the distillery would swing by the teapot and pour themselves a little dram during the day to keep themselves going. And so the legend of the teapot dram was born. And that's what Glengoyne is paying homage to, by mixing different casks and different whiskeys together. They're creating their version of the teapot dram. So I think it's a great marketing gimmick, and it's a little story. It's a little story that I like, I enjoy, and I tell people from time to time. Glengoyne is a proper sleeper distillery that costs. Yeah, man. I've had their cask strength whiskeys. They're fantastic. The Glengoyne 21 was one of the first. Sitting in the back. Was one of the first few Glengoynes I'd ever bought. However, the younger ones, the 10 and the 12, and sometimes even the 17, I get this like massive funk, like a very umami, wet dog, wet sweater funk to it, and I'm not sure if I like it, so I try and avoid it. But this one has some really good casks, very crisp, super robust, and chocolate, dark chocolate, tobacco, leather, hazelnut, cinnamon, dark and milk chocolate both. So fairly good whiskey, complex whiskey in my opinion. But is it worth the £100? I don't know. £100 is a lot of money to shell on a whiskey that does not have an age statement, just a cool story. So yeah, man, if your wallet allows it, sure. If it doesn't, then I don't know the answer to that. You know, price is a weird subject, because what I think is expensive is like sometimes cheap for people. So I don't know how to assign a value to a whiskey in terms of its price, whether it's expensive or cheap, or I don't know, because there's no age statements, right? I mean, if there's an age statement, you can just compare apples to apples and be like, well, all 18-year-old whiskeys should cost this much because the cost of production should be the same, shouldn't vary. But with non-age statement whiskeys, it's really down to what you feel at the end of the day, and what the retailer feels that you will pay. So Lloyd, lately I've been gravitating towards Leitchik, Deanston, and Bladnoch. Yeah, the Bladnochs are pretty pricey. I like the Bladnoch. I like the crispness of the Bladnoch. I recently just polished off a bottle of a 10-year-old, which is just, stellar. First fill bourbon barrels, just absolutely stellar. But I think they discontinued that and they replaced it with an 11-year-old, which I've not drunk, to be honest. So I have no idea what that one's like. But the 10-year-old was sweet as. It was very nice. Deanston is doing some great things recently, and they're still decently priced. And I feel like if I go and sing his praises and put out a few videos, then even if one retailer sees it, they're just gonna jack up the prices on that, and that's something I don't want. So I'm going to review a Deanston soon on my channel, but I'm going to be very, very, very conservative about how I praise it. So yeah, I prefer reasonably priced good whiskey, less fancy packaging. Best example is Ardnor Merkin. Yeah, I just recently, where's my Ardnor Merkin? Should be here somewhere. I really liked it. I lost it. Oh, there it is. Yeah, I got the April 21 release batch 3, which is bottled at 46%. No, sorry, 46.3, 46.8%. Very nice. I just did a review of it, and super Dram. I really liked it, and I think it's good for the price as well. And I can't wait to see what they do next. I can't wait to see their age statement. So that'll be a few years, but we'll be around. We'll be around to do that for sure. Got only two Deanstons, 15-year-old and the 16-year-old. Oh, that's interesting. Have you tried, Greg? Have you tried the 16-year-old organic Oloroso? That sounds super interesting. David, my bottle of Bladnoch 10 is closed, sitting somewhere in my cellar. I'd love to visit your cellar. Love to visit your cellar. So that was the good dram, the Glengoyne teapot dram. If you're in my neck of the woods and want yourself a sample, just ask and I'll probably say no. First fill line, the Deanston 18 should hopefully win an Oswald award. Deanstons are constantly, yeah, man, absolutely. I think Deanston is, like I said, doing a great job. It's still decently priced, which is amazing, and I'm glad. But if more people like us go out there and they start singing its praises, somebody's gonna hear it and they're gonna put up those prices. So I don't know if I want that. Lloyd, Ardnamurchan is amazing. I'm a big fan of the Speyburn 10 and 15. Yeah, so I watched. So Ray is a good friend from Aquavite, and I watched one of his V-pubs, and he was talking about the Speyburn 10 and 15, and I managed to get my hands on them. I've not reviewed them yet, but definitely soon. So yeah, that was something that he pointed me to, and I went and got it. So yeah, shows you influencer marketing works. You know, if you like someone, and if they recommend something, there's a very, very high percentage that you will go and buy that whiskey. So if any whiskey marketeers or brands or distilleries are watching, hey, this real estate is for sale. I'd pay a bit more for the Leitchegg 18. Here in States, I'd see, oh, Mostery, if you can pick up the Ardnamurchan single cask strength, then I think you should. And let us know what it tastes like. Flippers will always be there. Yeah, you know, I have mixed feelings about flippers, to be very honest. I think you have to. I feel, and I'd probably get ostracized for making this comment, but whiskey is a commodity. At the end of the day, it's a commodity, and if you have people out there who are willing to pay a premium for something, you will always have someone who's going to buy it at a particular price and then pay and then sell it for a premium, right? Just like with any stocks. Just like with any stocks, you buy stocks, and somebody will tell you, listen, I'll give you 10% more than what you paid for it. You'll gladly sell it, and as long as there are people out there willing to buy, then I don't know if you can really if you can really demonize sellers or flippers. So it's an interesting conversation. I don't know what side of the fence I sit on. Do I like someone buying and driving up prices of whiskeys? No. As a consumer, absolutely not. But is it their right? Is that something that they can and should do if they want to? If somebody's out there willing to pay the price for it, then I guess, you know, it's interesting. I think it's one of those whiskey is one of those commodities that's really ruled by your emotions more than the practical side of your brain. You know what I'm saying? I don't think I'll be buying the Talisker 18 anymore. Welsh Toro. Yes, I agree. The 18 is unnecessarily expensive, and I don't think it offers anything more in terms of flavor than the 10-year-old, frankly. I think the 10-year-old does a fantastic job, and that's good enough. Definitely not getting the 18-year-old. Somebody gifted me the 8-year-old Diageo special release at, I think it was 59-60%. Which was not bad, a bit one-dimensional because of the just super high strength, but it was there, it wasn't bad. It's a complex question, but I for once, I told dozens of people are queuing each year at Fairchild to buy all of this and then go and sell, yeah, or else without half. I agree with you, Greg. I've been to Fairchild, and especially Bowmore when they're doing the 25-year-old. This year I think it was the 29-year-old, if I'm not mistaken. There was a queue from like 8 p.m. the night before. See, like we were coming back from dinner, and there was already a line for the festival bottles for the next day. But again, to that I say, these guys put in 10, 12 hours, 14 hours of work in the sense of staying out there and camping overnight. And And they only did it because there was somebody they knew was going to buy that whiskey from them. So they did, and they're kids. You know, these guys, they're not professional flippers. I've realized, at least the ones at the distillery, and I've seen those people. They're not professional flippers. They're just kids who are thinking, hey, if I invest 300 pounds in this whiskey, some idiot is going to buy it from me for an additional 200 pounds or double the price or whatever. So what are you gonna do? Tell the kid, no, don't camp out and try and make the money? That's probably what, you know, he probably makes that in like a month, 300-400 pounds. So I don't know. But then, yeah, Greg, you have the professional flippers, who are in it for the money only. Obviously, I guess everyone's in it for the money, but you've made a business out of it. Look, there's a saying that, you know, hate the game, not the player, right? So the game exists, and until the game keeps existing, there will always be players. So unless and until you don't get rid of the game, there's nothing you can do about the players. So it is what it is. I think people who buy at inflated prices from these flippers are equally to blame as the flippers themselves. So don't hate just the flippers, I think. Hate the people who encourage the flippers and buy from them. So that's what I say. First fill. Ralphie says the real buyers pay students to stand in these queues. Yes, some of them also do that. But again, there's, you know, you're exploiting a certain situation. You know, you're exploiting someone by giving them 30, 40, 50, 100 pounds, whatever that amount of money is, to stand in line all night because they want that whiskey. So I mean, it is what it is. Like I said, as long as the game exists, the players will too. So hate the game. I say hate the game. Let's kill the game, and not the players. So that's what I'm saying. First fill 1959. I'm interested if anyone enjoys any Jura whiskey. So I'm a huge fan of anything that's not Jura. So here's what I think about Jura. I've been to the distillery, and I did a tasting there, and they had a first fill bourbon Jura that they hadn't yet bastardized yet by putting it in wine, Oloroso, PX, cognac, whatever, right? They hadn't bastardized it yet. It had just come out of first fill bourbon, never meant for bottling. It was there for a tasting, and I tell you, it was one of the most tastiest whiskeys I've ever drunk in my life. And then, of course, they went and bastardized it. So, to answer your question, I think I don't personally like Jura whiskeys. I think there's a certain quality to that spirit which nobody really knows about because it gets hidden under layers and layers and layers of unnecessary maturation, in my opinion. And because it has, or well, it used to have Richard Patterson's stamp of approval behind it. A lot of people bought it on the back of him, and it does well in travel retail because it's, you know, it's sweet, it's chocolatey. So I guess it's a lot more palatable than what people think, and I think that's why it sells. But to whiskey drinkers like us, rubbish. The Jura 40 is a masterpiece. Greg, you've drunk more whiskeys than I have. I had the chance to be poured it by Richard himself a while ago. That's fantastic. I've not had the Jura 40. However, I've had the pleasure of drinking the Dalmore 64 poured to me by Richard Patterson a few years ago. He came down for a tasting and he unveiled the Dalmore 25. I think, where's my bottle of the Dalmore 25? It's here somewhere. He gifted that to me and he poured me a dram of the Dalmore 64. So that was good. It was not the best whiskey I've ever tasted, but it was certainly the oldest whiskey I've ever tasted. What do you think of the Glenmorangie Signet? So I've always had good things to say about the Signet. I like the fact that it's made from chocolate malt, and that's why it has a nice, crispy, roasted coffee caramel flavor that I like. The first Signet I ever drunk was maybe 10 years ago, and I really, really liked it. I've not had any much after that. So I don't know what's happening these days. You guys don't seem to like it. It seems it might be a bad bottle, or depends also where you bought it from. You got to keep those things in mind. That's the other thing. We're quick to judge whiskeys after drinking, and we're like, oh, this is absolutely shit, and it tastes like shit, and and sometimes I feel, and I've faced this with a lot of the whiskeys that I buy locally, is that they're not stored properly. You know that? Where we live, we have an average temperature of about 35 degrees Celsius, 40 degrees Celsius throughout the year. And if you don't store a whiskey well, it'll go off very, very quickly. And a lot of these whiskey resellers, I don't think have good storage facilities. They're not all air conditioned. See, in the UK, in parts of Northern Europe, etc., cooler climates, you can afford to keep a whiskey out in the in the elements for much longer than we can. And so if a whiskey is shit, also have a look at where it's been stored. Okay. Time for our next dram. I pulled out the big guns for you. My favorite is this Lefroy 25. This is the cask strength version at 48.6% ABV. Welsh Toro. Signet tastes nice, but way too expensive. Drink a cheap spay and eat a bit of chocolate at the same time. You have the same experience. Yeah, you're probably right. Dhanraj. Hi, sir. How many drinks down? No drinks down, sir. Just two. This is my third. Just chilling, having a chat with my friends. Loy, it can't be. I tried another Signet bottle that was bought from a different retailer. Same thing. The nose and palate was great, but still had weird aftertaste. I don't know. I don't know about the Signet. I think they started producing some bad batches. Jihan, how inflated are the prices of Japanese whiskey? Is stuff like Yamazaki 18 really worth it? How much would a Scotch counterpart cost? So, interesting. Where's my... I think here it is. Oh, I don't know. I have this Yamazaki 18 here somewhere. But it's definitely not worth the money. For sure. For sure it's not worth the money. Don't be spending $700, $800, $900 on the Yamazaki 18. You can buy 10 good whiskeys for that amount of money. So definitely not worth the price. How much would a Scotch counterpart cost? A counterpart, let's say if you're talking about an 18-year-old sherried whiskey, that probably cost about 150 pounds, 150, 117 pounds. So definitely half the price or a third of the price, half the price of of the Yamazaki 18. So Dhanraj, I'm also 2 drinks down. I'm having the Teacher's Highland. Well done, sir. That's a good dram. I hope you enjoy yourself. Mac, Yamazaki 18 is an excellent whiskey, but nowhere near worth its price. I don't know if it's, honestly, I don't know if it's an excellent whiskey. I think it's a decent dram. I don't know why it is so expensive. I mean, obviously, because there's none of it left, but don't forget there's some virgin oak in there. Yes, there is virgin oak. My Yamazaki 18 cost me £79 in a postal mix-up. Well done, Welch Toro. I love the fact that us old farts have these amazing stories to tell the kids, where we're like, yeah, I bought a bottle of the Kurosawa 35-year-old for £2 because somebody messed up and found it in a shop. You know, unfortunately these mix-ups don't happen anymore. People are smart. So yes, the Glendronach 18 is around £115. Oh, okay, much cheaper than I thought it was. So again, I think definitely get the Glendronach 18 over the Yamazaki 18. Absolutely. So here is my Lefroy 12-year-old. Oh, sorry, not 12-year-old. The 25-year-old, which is one of my most favorite drams ever. Just very delicately put together. Wonderfully. What a good peat. My Kurosawa 1986 cost me around €160. Have you drunk it yet? Have you drunk it yet, Greg? Thank you. Yes, this is one of the better Lefroigs. This one is the 21 release, if I'm not mistaken. A marriage of our signature Isla Peat with sherried oaky flavor from second fill Oloroso sherry casks. And American bourbon barrels. So this is a mix of second fill sherry casks and first fill bourbon barrels. I really don't get any Oloroso in this, to be honest. There's not much left, so you drunk it. Well done, Greg. The only Kurosawa I've had is Asama, I think. That's the only one I had. I've not had a... Okay, this is interesting. Okay, so David said a Benromach 10 was priced at €15 in the shop. I jumped in pretty quick. Good job, David. Well done. Okay, here's a quick question. What is your best whiskey deal that you've stumbled across by accident and you were like, oh shit? I tried 49 once thanks to some good collector friends. Wow. Why are cast strength bottles so expensive? A Lefroy 10 cast strength costs like 3 times the price of a normal 10-year-old, but it's technically only like 50% more concentrated. Yeah, Jihan. I think everyone's trying to answer that question, and you're absolutely right. But I think two reasons for that. Number one, the quantity that is produced or laid down for the cast strength series is much less than the regular 10-year-old. So it's not really the percentage ABV that they're charging for. They're actually charging for how little they make of it compared to the 10-year-old. So that's the reasoning behind it. However, the real reason I feel why some whiskeys are more expensive than others is greed. And I think the answer is as simple as that. So that's just my opinion. Dhanraj, are you a regular drinker or occasional? I'm a very occasional drinker, despite what my videos might suggest. Even when I'm doing the videos, I would have tasted that whiskey maybe a week before and taken down my notes. And for the video, I'm just pretending to nose and taste it because I've already done the notes. So apologies if the illusion of me doing the tasting live has been shattered, but it is what it is. Yeah, supply and demand, really. That's really what it is. Mac, I've been buying whiskey for 2 years. Best deal I got of the Craigellachie 17 and 90. That's not bad. Lefroy 25, 2019. I got 2 bottles at 95 pounds a bottle. That's not bad. Not bad. Best deal, except gifted bottles. Probably those from retailer bargaining stock at 40% because closing. That's how I got my telescope 20 Costra and then Glenmore 1979. Not bad. Those seem like good deals. So my 2 best deals I got was the duty free. The shop at the duty free called me and they said we have 2 Lefroy 27-year-olds 1980 vintage, which they erroneously marked as sold, but they were still sitting in their warehouse. And the lady called me and she said, "Do you want him?" And they were the 1980 27-year-old Lefroy, the one with the black bottle. And I said yes, and I said how much, and she sold them to me for $200 each. True story. I never opened those bottles. I did have a dram of that when I was visiting Australia, and someone gave me a sip, and they were absolute shite. Greg, oh my God, but when? I think it was 2012 or 13, around that time. But I drank those whiskeys. I had a dram of that whiskey at a bar in Australia, and it was absolute shite, and I hated it. I hated it. Well, store. My recent deal was a Craigellachie 17, 70 pounds at an airport minus 20 pounds with a token. Hey, 50 pounds for a Craigellachie 18 is not bad. Not bad at all. Tanra, is vodka good for people who are conscious about their weight? Tanraj, you're in the wrong chat, my friend. I think maybe vodka on its own is kind of okay. But I don't think any alcohol is good when it comes to weight. I know some alcohols are better than some, like beer is definitely the worst, then maybe wine. And I'm talking in large quantities, I'm not talking like 1 glass a day. But I think it's all about moderation and control and eating right, and I really shouldn't be the person talking to you about weight control. I have my own issues, so just don't drink that much and don't eat that much and try and stay as active as possible, and I think you'll be okay. So I think it's just common sense, man. I don't think you need me to tell you that. Yeah. Whiskey is 100 cal for 4 CL or so. But those are empty cals, you know. They're not good cals. Welch Toro. Conscious of weight, cholesterol, blood pressure, and liver damage. You got that. And in that order. In that order, yes. It's a checklist. You got all of them checked. But no. Yeah, just you can add blood sugar to that as well. Welch Toro. But yeah, again, I think wrong chat to ask me about weight advice and what vodka can do for you. But just be responsible and just be moderate about everything, and I think you should be fine. So thank you. I think I'm going to sign off now. We've been on the chat for roughly about an hour. I really appreciate everybody who joined me. Thank you, Loy and Mac. They're my buddies from my whiskey club. And so thank you for tuning in. I really appreciate it. And of course, Welsh, Toro, David, Greg, you guys are always amazing, and I really value your input, and I really appreciate it. Yeah, Mac, absolutely. You know what I'm gonna do? I just did a I just did this off the fly because I felt like having a dram, and I thought I'll just do a little stream. But next time, let's do it together. I think that should be okay. Greg, you have to go. Thank you, sir. You were amazing. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Loy. I think it'd be nice if, hey, how about this, guys? Let's pick a date, Loy and Mac, and the three of us will pick a dram each, and we'll do a live stream, and hopefully everyone can join in that. So thank you. I really appreciate it. A dram divided. You guys are amazing. First Fill 1959. Good talking to you, buddy. And take care. And we will see you next time. Please. And hey, definitely subscribe to the channel. Come on. You have to subscribe to the channel. Let's do it. Please. Alright. Cheers. Okay. I gotta go. Peace out. Bye.